Good morning, everyone at home. We are currently in Ireland, and welcome back to another podcast with the Advocacy Fellows. Today we are interviewing the wonderful Helen Laverty today, so hopefully you can sit back, relax and enjoy the show. And my name is Angelina. I'm one of the Advocacy Fellows, and we hope you enjoy today's podcast.
We are the Advocacy Fellows, heroes voicing for and empowering young adults with learning disability.
Helen, would you mind introducing yourself and telling us a bit more about yourself?
Wow, what a thing. Hey, so my name is Helen Laverty, and I have a number of hats that I wear and tiaras. So what can I tell you about myself? So I'm a learning disability nurse and have been a learning disability nurse for nearly 40 years really, so I'm very old. And I facilitate, so that means I pull together the Positive Choices Conference every year. But one of the things that I am most proud of and most honoured is that I was asked to be part of the patron team for Time to Shine and for CAP, so have a strong association, and everybody calls you Helen Shiners, so that's me. Okay.
Our viewers at home would like to know, what do you prefer to be called, Helen Laverty or Helen Shiners?
So Helen Laverty or Helen Shiners? Well, John's not here and I've only been married to him for 37 years, so I'll stay with Helen Shiners. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm Melissa. Hello. Do you like your job?
Well, some days I love my job. I don't want you to think that I wake up every morning and think, whoopee-doo, I'm going to work, because there are some days that I want to just lay in bed. But I would never do anything different. I love to teach student nurses, and the reason that I do what I do is to make sure that people with a learning disability get what you and I take for granted. And that can be as simple as a smile, or just people seeing that people with a learning disability have got so much to offer and make the most amazing friends. So I'll tell you a little story about somebody with a learning disability sat in this room being an amazing friend to me. When we went to Geneva, who went to Geneva with me? Oh yes, Harley. Not only did Harley, you might want to edit this, I don't know, but Harley found me a corkscrew to open my bottle of wine that we'd had to go to Lidl to buy because we couldn't afford the wine in the cafe, in the restaurant. But I had a fall when we were in Geneva, and Harley looked after me like I was a princess. And for that, Harley's always going to be one of my best friends.
How you got any animals?
I don't have any chickens. No, but in our garden at home, John, because you all know John, my husband, he's a beekeeper. So we have hives of bees. And up until last year, I had 2 pussycats, but they decided that they wanted to live outside. So they still come and feed by the back door, but they don't live inside anymore. Now, Annie, my daughter, who you've met, she's got a dog called Minnie. So I have a bit of a share in Minnie. Does that count?
What is your favourite animal and why? Make sure you smash a big thumbs up and hit the big red subscribe button down below.
What's my favourite animal? Well, I don't know really. I like unicorns, but some people say they don't exist. I think they do. Do you know what, Jack? You've got me stumped. I don't know what my favourite animal is. I like cats. I like dogs. I wouldn't really want to own a dog myself because I'm not very good with poo bags in my pocket and that sort of thing. I did once think I would have some ducks, but there's a lot of slimy poo involved with ducks. So if I can't have a unicorn because people think they don't exist, I guess I would say a cat.
Why did you want to become a disability nurse?
Very good. So this is a bit of a long story, actually. So when I was 14, long before any of you were born, I went on a placement at school to a special school. And I used to go there on a Wednesday, and I was in a class, worked in a classroom with lots of little people, all sort of under 6. And I couldn't understand why some boys and girls went home in taxis to mums and dads, and those boys and girls had really nice socks. Socks are important, were very important to my mum. But then there were boys and girls who went home with nurses, and they didn't have very nice socks on. They had socks that looked like they'd been washed to the colour of chewing gum. And I asked if I could go and see where these boys and girls lived. So it was arranged that I would go and see them. And the boys and girls had a lovely time, and they were really well looked after. But I decided that was it. I knew I could make a difference, and I was going to make a difference. And that's what I did. And I've nursed lots of boys and girls in my time, and nobody whatever has worn socks that look like they've been washed with chewing gum.
Where's my JD?
It's a bit early, the bar's not open, but Harley and I have had quite a few times when we've been in a pub, haven't we?
Yeah.
And Harley is one of the most generous people I've met, because I remember walking down the stairs in the hotel in St Ives when Harley was to be a Shiners graduate, and at his graduation, and he said, "I'm not old enough to go to the bar, Helen, but I've got money, can I buy you a gin?" And that was perfect.
Was a cat.
So we've got 2 cats that live in the garden, one called Mimi and one called Milo, and they were rescue cats. They were what are called feral cats. So before they came to live at our house, Mathew, they'd never lived in a house. And they were okay for a little while, but then they chose to live outside. But I have a very big garden, and they're very spoilt because they go through the cat flap and they've got a heated blanket on their, shelf, not heated blanket, to sleep on when it's cold. So 2 cats, no dogs.
What colour are your 2 cats?
So Mimi is black and white, and Milo is a big ginger Tom.
Did anyone influence you to become a learning disability nurse? If so, who was it and why?
So it was all the boys and girls that I met at somewhere that was called the Carlton and Digby School. It was them that influenced me, because at the time, to be a teacher in special education, you had to teach in mainstream school first and then do another course. And I didn't want to wait that long to start making a difference for people. So it was those boys and girls that made a difference. But I have lots of heroes who are learning disability nurses. There's a lady in the other room called Deborah Moore. She's a big hero of mine.
You ready? You got to show Rory your beautiful face though. Put your head up. Okay, say, what do you like to?
Fun.
What do I like to eat? Oh, well, I've been a bit naughty this morning because I had a cake. Have you been to the teddy bear stall? Because there's cake. So I had cake for my breakfast. Do you not like cake for your breakfast? Well, I didn't have time for my sausage sandwich. One of my most favourite things is an egg and cress sandwich on white bread with a packet of salt and vinegar crisps. I really like that. And whilst you're here, you need to make sure that you buy a packet of crisps called Tato's, cheese and onion flavour, because they are game changers. Sorry, that's advertising. I like fish and chips. I don't like bananas. Is that okay?
Why you don't like bananas?
When I was a little girl, I don't remember us having bananas at home. We must have done, but I don't remember. And we went for tea to an auntie's house who didn't have any children. And I saw this banana and mithered, that's a good Nottinghamshire word, complained and complained until I was given this banana. But she was the sort of person that if you didn't eat everything up, she would be cross. And I expected this banana to be crunchy. And it wasn't. And I didn't like, even now I don't like that sort of claggy taste if something's not crunchy. And they made me eat it all. And then I was sick on her shoes. So there we go. And I don't even like the smell of them.
What is your favourite hobby?
Well, hobby. I love to read. And if I have a spare 10 minutes, I would sit and read. But I don't mean this to sound offensive, but do you know what? You're my favourite hobby because I love to be with the shiners. I love to take the shiners to places with me. And I love to make sure that people give you the chance to shine and see you shine. I guess the other part is my favourite hobby is, and my best job in the world is being a granny. I love being a granny.
And the second question is, what is your favourite colour?
My favourite colour is pink, to make the boys wink. But no, I do like, even though I'm wearing, I don't know what colour you'd call this today, but I do like pink very much. I know you love a rainbow, don't you? And in my car, not in this country, but in my car back in England, I've got some more rainbow fans, which I will save for you.
What advice would you give to people who want to become a learning disability nurse?
So what advice would I give to anybody who wanted to be a learning disability nurse? Firstly, don't let anybody get in your way. And don't let anybody say that you're not clever enough. Don't let anybody say that you're not well enough, because there are all sorts of different routes. You don't have to go down a university route. You can go down the apprenticeship route. You can look at doing care assistant work. But anybody that's watching the podcast that wants to be a learning disability nurse, get in contact with me. You can have my email address, ask the shiners, they'll tell you how to get hold of me, or follow me on Twitter, which is called X now, isn't it? So my Twitter handle is Helen_Laverty. Be careful where you put the R, because it's Laverty, not lavatory.
If you was an author, what books would you write?
Do you know what, Jack? I like fairy stories. One of my most favourite stories is The Faraway Tree, so I love all of those sort of things. I would write stories, not magic like J.K. Rowling, but that sort of adventure.
Where is the conference next year?
So next year we're going to Winchester, so that's not so far for you to travel. And we will be in Winchester on, I think it's the 10th and 11th of April, but it might be the 11th and 12th. But I'll make sure you're there on the right days, don't worry. I'll make sure I'm there on the right days as well.
So on behalf of Helen Laverty and all the shiners, we'd all like to say a big thank you, and we will see you next time for another podcast. So we say goodbye.
This video was produced by Discover Voices, part of Disability Cornwall and Isles of Scilly. To check out all of our content, simply search Discover Voices on YouTube.